I got down to like very little plastics, I just started putting on muscle that no change in my anything. Just all of a sudden, now I'm lean. And now,
amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
That's crazy how that blocks it. You know what I mean? Or how it can block it, right?
Well, they say it's an endocrine disruptor, right? And they also say it's a forever chemical. It's not, because I got it out. I wonder if they say it's a forever chemical so that you just go like, c'est la vie, nothing you can do. Because if you knew that you could just stop today and be better, and for me it took 2 years, you'd stop.
And it may be probably different from case to case, you know. And if normal people or whatever can be able to stay off for that long, right?
Yeah.
And avoid it for that long. Because I know you worked really hard to stay off of it. Like he was in like Europe and he had to drive like a couple hours to get only glass bottles of water.
So
and
I
stuff,
would,
you know what I mean?
If I could not get a glass bottle of water, I'd drink beer. I was not willing to put any plastic.
Would not drink anything.
And then the second I got that my results after the 2 years of abstinence, I look at my wife and I go, our daughter's never drinking plastic water ever again. And that was it.
It's amazing when your eyes are opened up to it, how cognizant you become.
Yeah.
He basically did it like how I do it with alcohol. Like it's like I will not touch alcohol.
Yeah.
Keep it away from me, you know, and that's the same thing he did. It was like
So cool.
no matter what he had to do, he figured it out. you
I
know?
will admit though, when I was in Japan a couple of weeks ago, flew in, landed, could not find any plastic or any glass bottles. That night, because you get there, I did have to drink a plastic. I had to have a conversation because I was like, if I drink beer right now, it's going to ruin my next 5 days because I'm so jet lagged. And I was like, you know what? I'm clean. I didn't get 19.5 by having one plastic bottle. Fuck it, I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah.
And then I spent like 4 hours the next day like going to like the expensive like department stores to see if they had the glass bottles of water.
It's
So
insane.
funny.
Turns out Jack was staying at a really nice hotel and they had
The
so
glass ones,
so I pretended so every day when I would meet them there in the lobby, I'd be like, oh yeah, and I would just like grab like 8 bottles and put in my backpack.
Problem solved. That's great.
Are we rolling, by the way?
Not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.
Yeah, so today we have Eric Hinman, really good friend of ours. I met you, like 7 years ago or something? It was a long time ago.
Yeah, 2018, whoop shoot.
Yeah, 2018, yep.
Yeah.
So Eric Hinman, a man of many talents, absolute beast, right? In all aspects of it. Like, it's crazy. Like, you've pushed your body to like, and your mind to like crazy levels I can't even think of, you know? It's like insane. So, I mean, you know, when we were thinking about this podcast and who we should have on, like, you're definitely one of the top people that I wanted to have on to like really chat with and like get into your story and see like what pushes you and what motivates you. And how old are you now?
I am 45.
45, still going.
Still going.
Still pushing hard. And I think, you know, that is something very valuable for, you know, for us to talk about and, you know, see if that could help other people listening in as well too, is just how you can continue to push and you're still 45 and you're still pushing yourself past the boundaries, past the limits. And you're really proving it and leading by example. So let's chat. Let's see, you know, like I want to start from the beginning here. And I know you have a very interesting story and like someone doesn't just jump into endurance races and endurance feats of strength and just like you just get into it and you're just really gnarly at it. Like you have to start from somewhere, you know? So tell us about, you know, your childhood. How was it growing up and everything?
You bet. It was great. I grew up in a really small town in upstate New York, Pulaski, New York.
Okay.
Salmon fishing, snowmobiling, team sports. I played basketball, little league, senior league baseball. I ran track. I ran cross country. I played 1 year of football. So I loved sports. I loved, you know, just being outside, recreating in nature. So awesome childhood. And then I went to college at SUNY Geneseo, so small state school in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
Studied business management, got into the party lifestyle, just, like you were in the party lifestyle. I'm guessing you may have been in the party lifestyle.
I feel like it's a specific age that you get into.
It's a rite of passage.
It's a rite of passage, exactly. And, I think that taught me some social skills, but it also taught me that there's consequences that come with, abusing alcohol and staying up late at night. And there's some fun times to be had for sure. But I think I figured out a better way to do it now. I was weightlifting in college, so I've always maintained some muscle mass and some level of fitness.
Yeah.
But, as you guys know, if you're not eating properly, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not doing a lot of other things right, then the weightlifting, it doesn't matter a ton. So I found myself in my late 20s pretty out of shape. I was over 200 pounds, 20+% body fat.
Yeah.
And, I looked at myself and I was like, shit, I've just kind of let things go. I don't look good. I don't feel good. Like every afternoon, I just felt really lethargic. So very aesthetic based. I'm like, I need to hire a personal trainer to get back into decent looking shape. And that really set me on this journey that I'm on today. I committed to a 6-month package, 5 days a week, 30-minute sessions. And I hated the first couple months of it. I wanted to throw up after the workouts. Like, it sucked. And I hated waking up that early. Like, I dreaded it.
Yeah.
And then I started to get addicted to it. I'm like, but I feel really good afterwards, and it's working. I could see in the mirror that it was working. I could see when I stepped on the scale that it was working. And I hadn't dialed in anything else at that point. I hadn't dialed in sleep. I was still drinking some. I wasn't eating healthy. I was just eating as much pasta as I could eat at night and Subway for lunch and
That's
McDonald's
what your 20s
for
are for,
breakfast.
though.
Yeah, it is.
Enjoying life.
Yeah, treat your
right?
body like an amusement park, right? So I eventually started to recognize the correlation between how I was feeling and the exercise. And I think that's ultimately what made it stick.
Okay.
Subsequently I got into triathlon and just really chased that. I got to the Ironman World Championships after a 5-year period of training. And, that's when I was like,
How was that?
Basing my life around wellness as opposed to this previous life I was living. The Ironman World Championships were amazing. That was my first time lining up next to people who were the best in the world at something. And, when I was there, I'm just like, Jesus, I'm with the best triathletes in the world. This is so cool. 4 years ago, I was this out of shape insurance salesman. And now in Syracuse, New York, I'm known as this elite Ironman triathlete. So just goes to show, if you're consistent with something, you've been consistent in the restaurant business. You were consistent in skateboarding and now the restaurant business. Like how much success can come over a 4-year period if you're like laser focused on something. You lock in and, you just do things that are purposeful every day. And that's what Ironman was. I didn't have any genetic gift to get there. It was from starting with these 30-minute personal training sessions and then building to 7-hour days. But it didn't happen overnight.
7 hours.
Why did it happen? Woo. Was it a thing that you were young, you were into sports. You've been an athlete your entire life, it sounds like. Was that at all pushed onto you by your parents? Or were you just naturally the kid who wanted to play sports? Or a little bit of both?
I liked competition. When I was like 8 years old, I was racing a friend outside my parents' front yard. And to beat my friend, I put my hand through a glass window, like to touch that window first and win. And I'm like, shit, now I need stitches. Right so I've always been competitive. And I think that's changed over the years from competing against others to just competing against myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about triathlon was, my results were directly correlated to how much purposeful practice I put in. Hire a coach, execute on the plan, understand like why you're training the way you're training, dial in the other things, the recovery, the sleep, the diet, and hey, you can take that really far. So I got obsessed with that. It was just cool seeing, I went from running 4 miles and feeling like I was going to die to 8 miles to 12 miles to running a marathon off a 112-mile bike. And just like, wow, I'm capable of so much more than I ever thought I was. So I think it was the purposeful progress and, just like having, I could see the results of it every single day by executing.
Would that just like drive you too? Is seeing those results? It's like, okay, I could do it in 12, I could do 12 miles now, right? In however much time, like maybe I could go even faster and do more miles. Was that like just something that just kept feeding you?
It's trackable. Yeah. I mean, I love training for CrossFit, but CrossFit isn't as trackable as something like running or biking where you can just see my pace is faster. I ran further. My heart rate's lower. I'm
Yeah.
getting fitter.
Yep.
You know, it's very easy. Same with strength. You know, wow, I did 5x5 at a higher percent or a higher weight than I did last week. So I do like things that you can track the results of, you know, based on your hard work going into it.
So building up to all of this, you built a company, didn't you?
I built a bunch of companies.
Okay.
Probably too many.
Yeah. Was this something that you were also into when you were in school and stuff, or was this after school?
I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've just always been really driven and have never really been good at taking orders. I like defining my own destiny. So my first business was a property and casualty insurance agency, driving 50,000 miles a year, going door to door, selling insurance to campgrounds and marinas in upstate New York.
Wow.
That was an opportunity through my father, who was the manager of a small insurance company in upstate New York.
Okay.
And then I started a software company in my late 20s, building mobile applications, teamed up with some college kids in Syracuse, New York, and built a service-based agency, and then opened a couple restaurants in upstate
really?
New York.
Epic.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Let's talk a
neither.
little bit about that.
Yeah. Luckily, I had a business partner who was the
Yeah.
operator. I was
Yeah.
more on like the fun side of just building the brand and getting to taste the food and being like, yeah, that should go on the menu. Let's call it this. But ultimately, we wanted to build something that was in other cities that wasn't in Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
So the restaurant is still there. It's called Original Grain, and
sick.
it's a healthy, fast casual restaurant. Graffiti on the walls, hip hop music playing,
Dope.
like the types of restaurants that I really enjoyed going to. We
Yeah.
brought that to Syracuse, and then we opened up another restaurant called Exo Taco, a trendy Mexican restaurant near the Syracuse campus. I'm not involved in them anymore. My business partner still runs them,
Okay.
but that was a really fun period of time. I love building brands that make people feel a certain way. I also co-owned a gym in upstate New York. That was another one of those businesses where it's really rewarding. You know, people just love going to your restaurant or going to your gym, and, you know, they tell their friends about it and they can't wait to go back. It's so cool owning something like that. And, you know, for the owner, it's like your own little clubhouse. Like every day I went there for lunch and I brought people there and had meetings
Yeah.
there. So they're cool businesses. They're hard, obviously, but they're very, very rewarding businesses when you make people feel a certain way.
I like that idea of like a healthy, fast casual. You know what I mean? Like, cause you know, obviously like I'm always focusing on my caloric intake and my macros and stuff throughout the day. And it's always tough to just like find those right meals where it's not just saturated in oil and butter and this, that, and the other. It's like, I just want some white rice and some chicken, please. Chicken cooked right, flavored right.
See, that's the key element there.
Yeah.
Cooked right, flavored right.
Exactly.
Because there are like any place. So my wife eats very healthy. I try to eat very healthy, and it's so hard to eat healthy, especially fast casual.
Yeah.
And if it is going to be healthy, it's not really actually that healthy, and it's usually like if there's going to be meat, it's like super
cafeteria.
dry. Yeah, it's like super dry. It's not flavorful. It's not cooked properly.
Yeah.
I actually think that's a pretty genius, kind of an untapped market
Yeah.
almost, because like I'll oftentimes not have time to eat at the house, have to come downtown to work, and be like, "Fuck, where can I just go get like a piece of salmon and like some rice or like some vegetables that aren't just done like that aren't just like soaked in canola oil,
Sauteed in
Yeah.
oil.
and
like a
I
quarter cup
can't
of oil.
think of any really.
Yeah, I want the well, but fast.
Yeah.
You know, instead of having to sit down. And you're right, not many of them exist. I mean, my first memory of you with the Whoop Shoot,
Yeah.
you had containers separating out your,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
6 ounces of meat, your rice, your vegetables, and throughout the day, you
don't get to look like this on accident.
I know. I thought that was so cool, though.
Lots
I
of
mean,
work.
you know, you can instantly tell a lot about someone by that. You know, like
you,
your
man.
your habits, and
Yeah.
you know, I recognized that early on. I'm like, this is a guy who like sticks to his habits, and he, you know, goes throughout the day with purpose.
Yeah, that's a funny story actually. We could tell the audience about that story. Is I met Eric at a Whoop shoot. You know Whoop, right?
Yeah.
So he has a funny story about Whoop too. But I met you at a Whoop shoot, and like I don't think I've ever met you before, but I would see you on Instagram because we have a lot of mutual follows and mutual friends, and you know you were working with Whoop at the time, and we were getting a shoot done for like one of their next campaigns that were coming out, and at this time I used to prep. This is like right as I started like getting into nutrition and my macros and calories and stuff, and I was trying to put on weight, so I had like 6 different containers of like sweet potatoes and chicken and rice and broccoli, and I had them all set up in my little igloo bag, and I would like take them out every 3 hours or so, and the shoots were long. It was like 2 days, like super long shoots, and that's like kind of where me and Eric bonded. Was just like, oh, like you got all your shit with you, like sick, you know, and we just kind of became friends from there and stayed in contact with each other. And I'd like to thank you too, is you've always been such a kind and generous person, like the first person that I really met in fitness. And he was always like, hey, Neen, like, I know this one company, like, I'd like to introduce you with them. And like, I know this one person, I'd like to introduce you with them. And it was just always super cool coming from skateboarding, where skateboarding was very like me and niche at the time. And no one wanted to share anything or help anybody out. Like, to like meeting Eric on a shoot that I was there for, like fitness and skating, and him being so like kind and like
That's dope.
welcoming, you know, and like you definitely helped me on like my route to where I am today, you know, and I thank you for that.
Heck yeah.
But I'm sure that's a little bit of paying it forward, right? There has to be
100%.
somebody who did something similar to you and helped you along your way. And I've had people help me. And at this point, we try, you know, all of us now are at a level where we can turn around and start to try to help, you know, other people in any way we can.
I think that's very like beneficial, you know, and it's like you could help the youth, you know?
Yeah. What's funny about that Whoop shoot is that
Yeah.
I was, my friend Keegan, he was wearing a Whoop, and I lost 40 pounds in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And
Congrats.
the beginning of this was we went out and had dinner, and we were hanging out, and I saw this thing on his wrist, and I'm like, what is that? And he told me about Whoop. And at this point, like, we're living downtown here, and like we live on the second floor, and I would run out of breath by walking up the stairs. And that's not good. I was 34 at the time. I'm not supposed to be running out of breath walking up one flight of stairs. And we start talking, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm gonna get you one. And we'll like set up like a, you know, the team. And he's like, we'll gamify it.
Accountability.
Yeah.
And he sends me the, you know, I get it a couple weeks later or whatever. He sends me the invite for the team. And you know how your team has like it just like auto populates an image?
Yep.
It's him with his shirt off.
Yep. Looking like a beast.
Yeah.
Just had me
And so every day I'm checking it. My friend is staring at me, looking the way he does. I'm like, fuck, I better fucking.
So funny.
So good.
Yeah. Accountability, though, right? How important is that in
Yeah.
anything? You know, I had a coach all through my Ironman years. Even today, I got a workout in with some friends at a gym. You know, there's a million things I could do for fitness. I could do it at the house, but I really enjoy the accountability of doing it with others, or having a coach, or doing some kind of group-based fitness class, or at least having a plan. Like, I write out my workouts every single day, just so I go in, I execute, and, you know, I'm accountable to myself with that respect. But for years, I had coaches, and I think coaches are so important. And just going back to, you know, helping out, I do think the universe reciprocates, and I had a lot of help along the way. I had mentors who helped me with business, who helped me with fitness. And, you know, I really get a dopamine hit when I'm able to give something to someone that is of value. So like, I get that same level of joy that you get from being helped.
Yeah, it was something very amazing, and it was like such a great entry into like health, wellness, fitness, is like meeting you, and you kind of networking and helping me meet new people within fitness. And
For sure.
it like, yeah, same thing. Like I was so happy. You were happy. I was happy. Everyone was happy. And it like seriously sent me on this new journey that has been so great. Cause now as a coach, I get to help so many other people
100%.
too, you know? So it's just been amazing.
Yeah, and people remember you most based on how you make them feel. You guys are in the hospitality industry. You make people feel a certain way coming into your restaurants. And yeah, I mean, that's rewarding for you, knowing that people feel good when they leave. They're happy, they're full, they're stoked.
Yeah, man.
They can't wait to go back.
I always say, like, you know, you can't, I like using the word manifest. I forgot who doesn't like that word manifest, but
Not
I always
me.
feel
I
like
it.
you manifest your own reality. You know what I mean? And if you manifest positivity and you pass positivity on to others, positive things will come your way.
For
you
sure.
know, and your day will be that much better if you just base it around being
Dharmic
positive
energy.
Yeah.
Is what they call it.
bringing good energy in and putting good energy out. You
Yep.
know.
And I think environment matters so much. You know, you're here in Austin, you're in between Chicago and Fort Worth, but like I'm in Denver and Austin, and both of those places, that environment allows me to live the life I want to live. In Denver, the mountains are calling me, like, come mountain bike with me, you know, be in nature with me. The
Yeah.
sun is shining. It's beautiful. And then here, like, it's such a community driven city. Everyone is helping each other. Everyone's collaborative. There's a lot of just self-starters and entrepreneurs here. It's a blossoming wellness scene. So it removes friction from the way I want to live my life. And when I was in Syracuse, I got to a point where it just seemed like there was a lot of friction to live the life I wanted to live. You know, it was dark and gray and cold in the wintertime, and there weren't nearly as many people outside recreating, running, biking, swimming, working out. So I wanted to be in a place where that friction was removed, and, you know, that new environment of being in the mountains satisfied that. So I think picking your environment, if you can, is such a huge component of, you know, what your reality is going to be.
Have you always been? You strike me as very optimistic.
Yeah.
Have you always been an optimist?
I've always been an optimist. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, like anyone, I have days that it gets derailed, but for the most part, I'm very optimistic. Funny you asked that. As my following has grown on social media, as I'm sure you guys have experienced, it makes you doubt a little bit more because there's more people who don't treat you like a human. They don't treat you with empathy. They just treat you as a public figure. But, you know, I recognize that, and I'm like, okay, I'm just treated like a public figure now, so I'm just going to take this with a grain of salt. They
Yeah.
don't know me. And,
Yeah,
you know, then I
exactly.
go off into the real
It's a
world.
very
and
nice way
everyone's got-
of saying haters.
I know, I love that.
But outside of that, yes, I've always been very optimistic, and yeah, also look at people as like I love people.
Yeah.
I love being around people.
So, you got something?
I was gonna say, the darkness of like Rochester, is that like when you like what age were you when you decided to move?
Yeah, 36, 37. It was 2017.
And you already participated in a few Ironmans, or
Yeah, Ironman for me was 2010 to 2014. So I did that while I was living in Syracuse. I mean, I was biking upwards of 5 hours indoors on a trainer, you know, running on a treadmill oftentimes in the winter,
Yeah.
swimming in this dungeon YMCA
Just
at
getting
6
it
in the
done.
morning, getting it done. Exactly. And I think that, that provided a high ceiling for me and this level of grit that I carry with me
Yeah.
today, doing it all there. It's obviously much easier to do it here when it's nice out and you have a place like Barton Springs where you can swim. But yeah, I think that yielded some grit. But I moved to Colorado in 2017, so it was after the Ironman years. But my life had changed so much from that period of time. You know, it went from partying and just being obsessed with chasing money and building businesses to I'm not missing a morning workout. I'm not missing an afternoon workout. I'm not missing my sauna session. So my lifestyle massively changed.
So, the getting heavy into the fitness was before the businesses, right?
They were
Or
together.
simultaneous?
They were simultaneous. The insurance business was 2002 to 2009. So that was prior to getting into triathlon. And then the gym and the restaurants were from my new wellness-based lifestyle. That was 2013 to 2020.
I would not think that if you wanted a wellness-based lifestyle, you would be like, I should put opening restaurants into that.
For sure.
I mean,
but I was on the marketing side.
That's
I
fair.
was not operating it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The operation is way harder than what I was doing with it.
Yeah, operating. I was just telling him, like, you know, I now have a what I consider a pretty pretty healthy relationship with alcohol. Do you drink at all or no?
Very rarely.
Yeah. So I have a pretty healthy relationship with alcohol. I'll go a couple weeks without having a drink. I'll have a drink 2 nights in a row. It all just sort of depends. My wife and I sort of like talked about it, and like, I think we should definitely drink a lot less, but we should use alcohol like a fun sprinkle on top of a cake. But you don't eat cake every day. So if we're going to go to a concert, or we're going to go to a comedy show, or we're going to go to a social gathering, have a drink. But if we're going to sit at home, you know, on a Tuesday night and watch TV, no. You
it's
know,
like a treat.
but
treat meal.
I just opened a new restaurant here, which you
Great.
ate at,
Love
Shokunin, and there's something about working in the restaurants, and I don't know if this is for everyone, but it is for me. that I looked up at the beginning of week 3 and I went, I haven't had a day without having a drink in 3 weeks. Because there's something about working the line that just is like, that's just like the ritual is you just drink beer, you know? And so anyways, I giggled when you said, as part of my wellness journey, I opened a restaurant.
Yeah.
I can tell you from my experience, because I don't drink, but being on the line on those busy days that we do the openings and stuff and the couple weeks following, and I'm just on the line, you kind of get into this zone where you're just like going. It's like very autopilot, like throw the meat down, smash the meat, like set out the burgers. Like this one has no onions, this one has no cheese. And you're just like going, like, it's like time flies so ridiculously that like at the end of the night, when you start breaking everything down, you're just so worn out and you're like, man,
Relax, have a beer.
Yeah.
See, but for me, it wasn't even like that. It's more like, so working a line to me is a lot like skateboarding. You get, so when you first start, you're like, okay, move this here, do this, do that. At a certain point, you become good enough that you just go into a complete flow state.
Autopilot.
Right? And when you are like, you might have like times where you're like, I'm going to, make minor adjustments, but for the most part, you're just flowing.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I mean. Like,
and when I skated, have a beer. It's just, it's part of the vibe.
Of the flow.
It's part of the flow.
Yeah.
Also, having a beer helps kind of like put you into that sort of flow state. And so like when you're just moving, because like when you're in a kitchen, all of a sudden you look up, it's been 4 hours. And you're like, where the fuck? What did I don't even know what I literally don't remember what just happened the last 4 hours. It's just gone. And so that whole thing of just like movement. And so it's not so much about de-stressing with a beer. It's more about like, yo, I'm going to go fucking rip it up in the kitchen. Let's drink some beers, Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the environment. Again, just going back to how your environment dictates your reality, you know?
But then, because now I'm a bit older and a bit, I would imagine, a little bit wiser.
Yeah.
I started to realize, as soon as I realized that, I have this saying like, it's okay to step over trash until you notice it, and then you're an asshole if you don't pick it up, if you step over it. So like, I have a thing where like I don't allow myself to go like just to scroll on Instagram. I still do, but it's almost like I'll be like, oh, the second I realize I'm doing it, I give myself 10 seconds and you're fucking off.
Yeah, I love that.
An hour or two later, I might be on there again, but it wasn't, but I'm like, oh, no, stop.
Yeah.
I've
been using that every single day now since you've been saying it, is like, because I have a 3-year-old, little Rocco, and like there'll be like his sock on the floor, or like his underwear or something random, like a fry on the floor, and like I'll step over it once, and then like in my head I'll be like, yo, you just stepped over a fry, like bend over, pick that up and throw that in the garbage.
You can fucking do
so
it.
I'll like reverse and like get the fry and throw it away, because it's like that, that's a great, model to live by. It's like, if you notice something, like take the liberty and like do it.
Just fucking do it. And that's
clean it up, like stop. Like if it's something that's not a good habit, like stop it. Like whatever you have to do,
So our buddy has a new NA beer company, Easy Does It. And so as soon as I realized what I was doing, I started bringing NA beers to the restaurant. He came in, started chugging NA beers on the line instead of having, real beers.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is replacing. Like, it's really difficult to just go cold turkey on a bad habit if you don't replace it with something. And, for me, I replaced the late nights party lifestyle with 6 a.m. bike rides. Like, I started to get to the point where I craved that 6 a.m. bike ride, that morning workout, the sleep I needed to get it in. And that way I didn't go out at night anymore. And then once I stopped going out at night, it just was no longer programmed in my head that I'd go out at night. And now I never have to think about it. It's just like, no, I have a 6 a.m. workout tomorrow. Of course I'm not going to stay out late. So, but there's a period of time where, you're kind of ebbing and flowing between the two.
Yeah.
You got to like, just, it's hard to just completely pull your foot out and put it in over here. It's more like, I've always just kind of slightly pulled it out, slightly put my foot in here. And then that starts to become the new routine. That starts to become something I look forward to. And then I completely pull my foot out from over here.
So how's your how was your training looking like when you got into Denver? Because I know you got off of like Ironmans, and then you went to Denver. And what was your training looking like then?
Yeah, I mean, just like with the party lifestyle, you can overdo it with exercise.
Yeah.
And, you know, Ironman, when you're chasing getting to the world championships, I was training 20, 25 hours a week. And I got to a point where my testosterone was low. I was starting to get really tired all the
Overtrained.
time. I was just massively overtrained and I wasn't recovering enough. It was affecting my sleep because my cortisol levels were, you know, off the charts at night because I was so ramped up from working out so much. And my body just got really banged up from the high volume of running. So there was a period of time where like I was trying to figure out what my new identity was because I was known as this elite Ironman triathlete, but I didn't feel good doing it anymore. I was starting to skip races and didn't look forward to any of the training sessions. And I was getting more into CrossFit. And there was a period of time where I went too hard on CrossFit because I thought I had to go from being this elite Ironman triathlete to being an elite CrossFit athlete. And, you know, that beat me up even more. So when I got to Colorado, that's when my social media was starting to inspire people. I was starting to get a lot of messages from people. And I'm like, I'm just going to live my life the way I want, not chase like this outcome, but just figure out my perfect day. What does that look like with training, recovery, the people I'm around, the businesses I want to build? And, you know, that's kind of the chapter I'm on now since I moved to Colorado in 2017 is just like what feels really good. What can I replicate day in and day out? I still do enjoy competing here and there, but it's more based on like, what can I maintain? What can I do day in and day out and look forward to it? I want to look forward to my workouts. And, you know, I implemented recovery when I got to Denver, the contrast therapy, going from a hot sauna to cold exposure. And
I think you were one of the first people to introduce me to that.
Yeah.
From like following you and stuff.
So beneficial, not just for your body, but your mind. And, you know, now for me, it's this community oriented thing.
Yeah.
We invite people over almost every single night to do contrast therapy with us. It's where I take in-person meetings. It's, you know, where I meet hundreds, if not thousands of people a year is just coming over to our backyard to
Here in Austin?
Here in Austin and in Denver.
I got to start
gotta
doing that,
go,
especially now.
Yeah. It's such a great way to meet people because your phone's going to overheat in the sauna.
Yeah.
Your endorphins are racing in the sauna from the heat. You're doing something uncomfortable with others. And I feel like the conversations get really vulnerable really quick. So yeah, I've had some of the best conversations of my life in the sauna.
Yeah, in the sauna, you're like on your last breath. So it's like you get real vulnerable because you're like, I'm ready to leave, but I'm going to stay in here and have this conversation.
Exactly.
So you're like on that last little bit there.
Yeah. But training now is more strength training than I was doing in the Ironman years. Ironman was a lot of cardio, a lot of just high volume, repetitive stuff, swimming, biking, running.
And that stuff could really beat you down. I always say like for longevity, like strength, you know, anywhere from like 30 to like 80-ish% of one rep max, and like bodybuilding, you know,
hypertrophy stuff.
Hypertrophy stuff. That's going to be the best for longevity. At least that's what most of the research points to.
100%. Short anaerobic intervals, you know, on low impact machines,
and that's
like
good
an
for
assault
your
bike.
cardiovascular base and all that, you know.
Yep.
I don't understand half the words, but I think what you're saying.
That's a lot.
Lift heavy weights and go hard to where you feel like your heart's going to beat out of your chest, and then stop.
Oh, well, then I didn't understand. I thought you were saying, because like I told him this thing that I started doing, and it worked for me. I started putting on muscle, which was I don't have time, right? I don't have time to do an hour of exercise. I don't have time to do 30 minutes. And when I was trying, I'm a creature of habit. I either do it every day or I just can't do it. And my schedule, because of how different it is, I might be in a different city tomorrow. And that's just how I've been for like several years. So I came up with this idea that every morning I do 20 reps. Or sorry, I do 10 reps of 3 different things. And that's it. And every night before I go to sleep, I do 10 reps of 3 different things.
Those doubles.
And I would do it 7 days a week. And I would never hurt myself. I would never, and I went from being able to like almost do 1 pull up to do like 10 in like just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you guys were saying, but
That's hypertrophy, what you're doing.
Yeah, he does like more of a full body routine, you know, a little bit in the morning, a little bit at night, you know, splits it up into 2. just because he has shorter time and then he has to get on calls and go to work and all that.
I mean, there's a million ways to be fit. I think the key is what works with your structure.
Yeah,
do
fucking
something.
do something.
And what works with your structure. Like, where can you remove the friction to get it done? Like, for you, going to a gym or even getting out for a run, you can't do it.
Can't do it.
So you figured out how
I also
you remove
can't. I don't have the time to have to shower after either.
Sure.
So I'm not even breaking a sweat by the time I'm, doing it. Now, of course, if I have a day off and I'm home, I will do more.
Yeah.
But I had a question for you because you mentioned that your testosterone was dropping. And I was told that I needed to stop running. I was running a lot. I got up to running 5 miles a day, 5 days a week. And my cortisol was through the roof. My estrogen was through the roof. My testosterone was down. And they told me to start and now I walk somewhere between 3 and 5 miles with a 40-pound vest. And it's been a polar shift.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what was going on with you?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's stressful running and it's a lot of cardio, and that's going to take away from your ability to strength train. And strength training is going to help more with testosterone levels than high volume running.
Yeah.
Going out and doing 400s, 800s, like shorter intervals, I think is going to help. But if you're running 5, 10, 15 miles regularly and you're not giving yourself enough time to recover, not only is that going to be cortisol buildup, it's going to take away from your ability to strength train and do, higher intensity training.
I was also doing it with zero strength training.
Yeah.
I just thought I was overweight.
Yep.
Start running.
Yep.
And I just ran and I did lose weight.
Yep.
But
that's common. I think as much of it is that when you're running a lot, it's difficult to also strength train.
I just never.
You're like so fatigued
Exactly.
from the running.
Exactly.
What's crazy is actually strength training can burn more calories than running.
Sure.
Just putting on muscle mass. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It just burns more.
Yep.
So it's it's just kind of that's the universal thought is I need to lose weight. I'm going to start running.
Yep.
Instead of I need to lose weight. Let me do some goblet squats, some bench press, whatever, and that's going to actually help burn more and probably a little bit easier on your body as well.
Yeah. Running is tough on your body, and it's just very sport specific. At least, strength training, doing CrossFit, a lot of these other things, they'll carry over to many other things where, if you're high volume running, it doesn't carry over as much to many other things.
Just mainly running.
Yeah. I still love running. I mean, I try to run every other day. That's been my cadence, and I generally don't go above, and this is going to sound like a lot to many, 8 miles. That's kind of like 60, 65 minutes. And then the next day I bike for my cardio and then back to running. But I feel best when I go every other day. It's still too much, but I'm competing in High Rocks. High Rocks is very much a running race. So, I have to maintain that running within it. I do feel better if I run less.
Are you doing a lot of resistance training as well?
Yeah, I'm strength training 4 days a week.
This guy's a beast.
Yeah, I train a lot. I train way more than you need to, but, I'm trying to achieve at a high level in my age group in High Rocks and mountain biking.
His tolerance is super high.
Well,
too,
that's fucking
what I
clear.
mean?
Yeah.
So one time he came to LA. I was living in LA at one point, and he called me up and he's like, "Hey, Neen, I'm going to be in town. Come by. Let's work out. Let's jump in the sauna." So I went over to where he was staying, and it was 7, maybe 8 a.m. and it's all right, we're gonna do the workout first. Workout was ridiculous, extremely hard workout.
If it's ridiculous for you, that's insane.
Yeah, it was a tough workout. And then he's like, "All right, now we're gonna go on a run." And we were it was the Palisades or something. We were way at the top of the mountain, and we ran all the way down the mountain and then all the way back up. He was so far ahead of me because I don't run,
Yeah, I know.
I was just suffering up that hill. And I think we hit the Normatex afterward and hit the ice bath. And I think
What's a Normatec?
I think you jumped into another
Compression
workout.
boots. That you put on your legs.
the goalie leg
Yeah.
things?
Yeah,
Okay.
the air compressing
Yeah.
boots. But I think you jumped into another workout later on that day.
Probably.
This guy's such an animal. It's ridiculous.
There's levels to this because I've worked out with him to the point where I was doing rep for rep what he was doing, but I was just doing it with a way lighter weight, and I forgot my name afterwards. I literally left the workout and went to the restaurant. And at Sushi by Scratch, we always do all right, everybody, welcome. My name is Phillip. This is Chef so-and-so. I went straight into it and didn't remember my name, the chef's names, what restaurant we were at. I was and the thing is when you when you say something so often, it's completely almost on autopilot. I don't think about what I'm going to say next, but my brain was so beaten down that I couldn't even try to remember what I'm supposed to say next.
Yeah, he jumped in on a conditioning day, so metabolic conditioning. So it was pretty tough, like sprints, weighted sprints, and then a little bit of rest in between, 10 rounds of just pure, just high intensity,
Yeah. It's crazy what you can build to, though, like in anything, just compounding consistencies, over time, it becomes the new norm.
Yeah, I like that. So you said you started to calm down slightly on the endurance so far?
Yeah, correct. When I moved to Colorado, I was doing more CrossFit training, more strength training, and less cardio volume. So now I really look at, like, I'll dip my toe in for a bit, but then I'll pull it back out. So I do Leadville each year, the mountain bike race, 100-mile mountain bike race in Leadville, Colorado at elevation.
Just a quick little 100.
For me, that's an 8-hour day. That's a pretty fast time. So to get a fast time at Leadville, I have to bike a lot. Like I'll bike upwards of 15 hours in a week on top of gym sessions. And like, I know I'm not going to feel my best doing that, but I'll dip my toe in. But now I have enough awareness to like take it back out. You know, after Leadville, I'm going to drop back down to, 1 and 2 hour rides instead of 4 and 5 hour rides. So I still will like ebb and flow in and out of the endurance world, but I do feel my best with strength training. What's hard for me is I get so much satisfaction from something like that, where like a 6-minute workout in a competitive environment, I feel good after, but I don't get that same satisfaction of like, 100 miles at elevation. Like there's a lot of satisfaction you get from doing that.
When you're riding 100 miles or doing anything like this, how important is the mindset? Well, obviously mindset is super important.
Yeah.
But how often are you considering stop? Like when you're actually in motion, how often are you like, because I know even myself when I'm like running or whatever, I am always like, maybe I should just, I gave myself a 5-mile goal. I'm at 4 miles and I was like, maybe I start making excuses or, something. How hard is it to stay like really, really like committed? And also, how often do you struggle with that, or do you?
That's a great question. And I mean, you can train to push that back a lot. So the first year I did Leadville, I went in massively undertrained, and 60 to 90 minutes in, I wanted to quit. I had this devil on my left shoulder who was just saying, you can quit. It's not your day. Like,
your body hurting, or
my body was hurting. Everything hurt. I overtrained the day before leading into the race. I didn't take it as seriously as I should have, which sounds stupid. It's a 100-mile race at elevation. But, I kind of looked at it as like, all right, it's just another big training day. No big deal. And that was miserable. 90 minutes into a 10-hour day, I wanted to quit the entire time. Man. And, fast forward to the last couple years that I've done Leadville, where I go in rested, 2 days before, I'm not doing much. I'm getting really good sleep. I'm sleeping in my own bed. I don't even go to Leadville to sleep the night before the race because I sleep poorly at elevation. So I'll make that 80-minute, 90-minute drive to Leadville morning of the race. And, I'm building up my physical tolerance to be able to withstand a day like that. So the last couple years of doing it, I didn't really start thinking about it until 6.5 hours in. That's when those thoughts started to creep in. And same with Ironman. I had Ironmans where, in the swim, I'm like, not my day. This sucks. I don't want to be doing this. And I still have to bike 112 miles and run a marathon. That's a shitty position to be in. And then I've had Ironman races where not until like mile 16 does that creep in. So I think there's ways to, resting is a huge thing for me now. I used to always go into stuff overtrained. So now I want to make sure that I have the stoke. Like I haven't worked out in 2 days. I can't wait to work out all day. That's important. Yeah. And then, obviously there is a link between the physical and mental. Like you have to prepare yourself physically for these races. Otherwise, the aches and pains are going to come much earlier for you. But the better you can get into flow state, earlier on in the race and staying in it is so important. And I think there's a lot of variables to that. It's understanding like what wattage you can maintain, what heart rate to be at the entire time. It's just like dialing in the perfect espresso. There's a bunch of variables that you learn over time so that when you get to the race start, like it's easier to get into flow with it. Yeah.
But what do you do? And let's talk about like the first one as an example. What do you do when 90 minutes into a 10-hour race, you're already you're already ready to be done.
Yeah.
What does the conversation with yourself feel like or sound like? Or the reason I'm asking, one, for me, because I do actually struggle with that.
Yep.
And two, for anyone at home who either is arguing with themselves to actually start or is arguing with themselves in the middle of it, how, obviously, the longer you do it, the less, the less devil you have on your shoulder.
Yep.
But what does that conversation with yourself sound like, and how do you win?
Yeah, mini goals and thinking about positive thoughts. So for me, let's say I'm 10 miles into the marathon in an Ironman. All I'm thinking about is the next mile. I'm thinking about how good that little cup of Coca-Cola is going to taste and how it's going to spike my blood sugar. I'm thinking about my family that I'm going to see at mile 13 and that energy boost I'm going to get from seeing them and how proud they are going to be when I run by them. I'm thinking about the chocolate milk I'm going to have at the finish line as soon as I cross it. I'm going to down 4 chocolate milks.
Yes.
So I'm just thinking about these little rewards that, I can see them. They're close. And I'm setting these mini goals. I'm not thinking about the 16 more miles I have to run. I'm just thinking about that next mile. All I have to do is get to mile 11. And, that I'm going to be able to get some gels there. I'm going to spike my blood sugar. I'm going to feel good again for a little while. So it's that. And then I also would think back, like I've done this before. I've run 22 miles off a 5-hour bike. If I did it before, I can do it again.
Yeah.
I had the same feeling. It's like getting into an ice bath. Like it's always uncomfortable getting
Sucks.
into an ice bath.
Yeah.
But I did it yesterday. I did it the day before. Like it's no different than the prior days. I know.
Doesn't get any
But what
easier.
about for someone who hasn't done it the day before?
I think
How do you get started with that?
Yeah, it's building up your tolerance.
Yeah.
You can't just do an Ironman. You can't just do a 20-minute ice bath. You
Yeah.
got to build your tolerance up and know that anyone who's achieved at a high level in anything, it took years to get there. So it's just starting smaller. It's, redoing your expectations of how you're going to perform in something.
Small increments.
Yeah, small increments. And for that 4-mile run, walk a little bit. Just like, what is that little mini drug that you can put in there that makes you feel a little better to then start running again?
I had a question. It kind of is aligns with what you're asking, but let's say you wake up and you don't want to go out or you don't want to go to the gym or you don't want to train. What are things that you tell yourself to get out there and show up? Right?
Yeah. Generally, I know I'm going to feel better after. I'm also very structured. Like, this is just the norm. So even if I don't want to do it, it's like, that's what I do from 8 to 10. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did yesterday.
It's routine. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
I don't
set.
rely upon motivation. Like,
Yeah.
it's just routine for me. I have these time slots where I do my workouts.
Yeah.
But if I don't feel good, if I'm sick, if I'm run down, if I'm super sore, if it's the day after a race, I used to push through those things. Now I don't.
Yeah.
Now
Recovery
it's
is-
a recovery day.
Yeah.
And sometimes that may mean just laying on the couch watching Netflix. And, even busyness also you need a break from. You guys are super busy. You're traveling all over the place. You need a break from that too. So I also recognize that where, let's say I just hosted an event for 50 people, like that next day, I'll plan to just be kind of a couch day.
Yeah,
I
couch
need to
potato.
relax my nervous system. That was a lot. And I just need to replenish my social battery. So, now I'm getting smarter at not only replenishing the physical, but replenishing my mind so I can go hard again the next day.
Yeah. A lot of it needs to be replenished at the end of the day. But yeah, that's what I like to tell all of the people on my team is don't worry. If you can't show up, number one thing is to create a routine out of your
Yes,
fitness.
it
That's
is.
number one thing. Your training has to be routine. It has to be brushing your teeth, even though not everybody brushes their teeth, but sleeping. Everyone pretty much sleeps or they pretty much eat or drink water. So it's you need to make a routine out of it. And the best way to do it is to do it pretty much at the same time every single day or
what I do.
every other day. So then it's it's
Yep.
routine. It's something you have to do.
Well, that's what I was saying. I can get really into it, but the second I break routine,
Yep. That's the new routine.
it's done. It's
Yeah.
done. I can't do it again. And it takes me so long to restart. I just started walking again. I think I was telling you, I've been overseas 3 times in the last 90
Yeah,
days.
you've been on a lot of
and
trips.
so I guess, I've been walking a lot there, but it's very different to go put on a pack and walk for 2 hours than it is to just walk around when you're, in a different city. But the way that I've got myself to redo it. I started watching Homeland, that show. I put it on my treadmill, and I watch one episode. And the first day back, even though I've been now walking for years and running for years, the first day back, like 40 minutes in, I started to like feel it like in my shoulders, and I was like, okay, stop. And I've gotten to the point now. So then the next day I did it, made it through the full episode. The next day I did it, I'm at an episode and a half. And now it's like, now every day, I was actually bummed I didn't have time to do it today, because I now look forward to it. So I think for people at home who like, for people like you guys, it's like, well, how do you do it every day? You're like, I just do, you know, because you've been doing it for so long. But for people at home who want to do it, who wish they were doing it every day, just find a way to make it enjoyable.
Yeah,
You know?
agree. And remove the friction. I think
Yeah.
that's such a key component of it is, you know, if you don't have time to go to a gym, you know, do some burpees or push-ups in the living room, something that you can do without friction.
There's a thing I did for like 6 months, because I don't remember, it might have been you. Someone told me like, if you can do 100 push-ups a day, like you're in shape.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
I would say every other day. You know?
Well, what I started
make sure to rest in between.
What I started doing for probably like 6 months is I was like, I can't do 100 push-ups. I can do 10. So I'd set an alarm for every hour to go off. And when my alarm went off, I'd drop and do 10 push-ups.
Love it.
And I was like, well, there's my 100 push-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gamed the system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's figuring out what's purposeful too. You know,
Yeah.
that was purposeful for you, so you put it into your schedule and you did it every single day. And we all have these glass balls that we can't drop. So, you know, those need to be like the most purpose. And for me, wellness is one of those glass balls that I don't want to drop. I know I feel my best when I work out. You know, the best boyfriend, the best business owner, it just makes everything else better in life. So
Do you have kids?
no kids. Nope, girlfriend, dog.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was finding out that my wife was pregnant, and that's when I was like, all right. When I said more, like she was like, "Yo, go to the doctor." And I haven't been to a doctor in 20 years, and find out like, oh, your cholesterol's too high, your testosterone's too low, all these things, and then start, you know, because I want to be there for, you know,
For sure.
for her getting married and whatever. So for me, that's been the driving force.
I love it. Having purpose matters so much.
Yeah.
Purpose. I mean, longevity is like one of the I feel like one of the best purposes, right?
Yeah.
To continue to do the things that you love for many more years to come.
Yep.
Feel great, look great,
Yep.
happy,
Yep.
mentally happy and stable, and
Yep.
you know.
And use it or lose it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I mountain biked this year with some guys in their late 50s and early 60s who are as fit as me on a mountain bike, and like use it or lose it.
They
Like,
say you could still build muscle and strength, actually more strength, all the way up to like 80 years old.
Wow.
That's what a lot of research points to.
Wow. I know
Which
with
is, like,
endurance,
wild.
like endurance, you can maintain late in life. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ultra runners, you know, in their 40s and 50s who are still competing at a very high level. Cyclists, there's a lot of people 40s, 50s still competing at a very high level. So endurance for sure, that, you know, as long as you're using it, like you can maintain and build that into your, you know, midlife.
Yeah, Margarita's grandfather is still doing marathons.
So cool.
And he's in his late 70s, I want to say.
Wild.
Yeah.
There it
I mean, I'm
is.
sure he's not finishing in the top 10%.
Sure.
But
But he's using it. And
but like
he's
most,
crushing it.
you know, 80% of the world could not even finish it,
No.
you know, at all.
Yeah, they say what your strength and power basically reduces faster than muscle mass. You know,
Sure.
if you're not using it, it's like strength and power goes out the window first. And
Sure.
you need power to be able to walk, to bend over, tie your shoes,
Yeah.
walk upstairs and stuff. So it's like, if you're not using it, it's like, it's just out the door so fast.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, it's reducing the decline over time, reducing the decline in your VO2 max, reducing the decline in your mitochondrial health, reducing the decline in your strength. You know, they're going to decline over time,
Yeah.
but you can reduce them significantly if you're exercising regularly. And I think that's the key, so that when you are in your 60s, like, yeah, I'll go for a mountain bike ride. That sounds great.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the modern world kind of like makes it easier to just plop out on the couch and just like continue to watch TV and eat like junk
Yeah.
food and stuff.
We just have
And,
so many
like-
options in today's world, and so many of them yield a dopamine hit without having to do anything. Watch a movie, check social media, buy something new, go out late night. Like, there's all of these things that we've created
Little
that
distractions.
kind of hurt our
Yeah, I feel like social media is probably one of the worse things.
It's so easy. It's right there all the time.
Yeah. I noticed that, like, so when I get really busy, I don't check my phone. I don't have time. And when I slow down, I check my phone a lot more often. And I feel, depression's the wrong word, but I feel sometimes like almost like rut adjacent. And I throughout time, I've sort of like not pinpointed it solely to like being online and just what they call doom scrolling. But I think that it correlates a lot. And so like right now I'm actually in a thing because like I like to give myself these weird disciplines every once in a while, like I was doing before the World Series.
Yeah.
But like after Thanksgiving, I was like, all right, no more alcohol, no more eating, because like I'm working till midnight. So it was like getting tacos on the way home or burgers or whatever. Because also I needed to put something in my body because I hadn't. I gave myself all these. And one of them is I will not go on Instagram. But I still keep finding myself just like literally I'll be in a conversation and I'll like get a text, so I'll check the text, and then my thumb just opens Instagram and goes like this twice.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, fuck you, thumb, why are you doing that? No, go away.
Yeah. It's really wild how addictive it is. And I agree with you. Like, I feel my best, like having conversations with others, sitting in the saunas with people, going on a mountain bike ride. But still, like, you know, you find yourself in any of those down moments, you know, on your phone. You find your way to social media, and then you're there for 30 minutes, and I don't feel good after. Like, I'm going to walk away from this, and I'm going to feel good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to feel like we had a great conversation. We learned something about each other. We put this out into the world, and it did something valuable. But I feel like there's no value that I get. It's a dopamine hit, but I get no value from it. And I think
It's like
that's
eating empty calories.
Yeah.
It's like you eat a bag of chips, and it might have tasted good, but then you just
Yeah.
feel full of
great
nothing.
analogy.
Yeah.
You're so right.
And you want more.
You do, but that's the thing is like but I don't want more. I need more.
You need more.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you just find yourself walking back to the pantry. You're like, no, stop. You don't need to take this. It's not time to drink this. Right? That's kind of what what happens in the same like empty fullness you get in your stomach from eating a bag of chips. You get the same, or at least I get the same empty fullness like in my head.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm like have just been like accosted by my phone and just full of nothingness. Like my brain is now full of nothingness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. When in our evolution did we become so easily influenced?
Yeah.
You know, because what I've done over the years is I've structured my life around things where I really know that I feel satisfied after. You know, like I have my workouts in there. I have my time with people. I have my time to be outside in nature. And still there's times where I find myself just scrolling social media, and I'm influenced by it. You know, it's like captured my attention. And like, how do we get that more out of our lives? And at what point did that enter our lives to be so easily influenced?
Well, how much do you think it's nature versus nurture? So, for example, without doing math, you grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
There was nothing else besides the outdoors.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, our kids, both of our kids are 3. What is their relationship to the phone going to be compared to yours? So, like, as you get older, you even struggle with it.
Yeah.
I even struggle with it. You know, we all grew up in a time where this didn't exist.
Yeah.
The only thing that could take your time like this at all was video games.
Yeah, and TV. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but you couldn't watch 12 hours of TV.
That was also like later on too in life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like video games weren't that big in the 80s or even the early 90s. It kind of got bigger later on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, by the time we're 10, 11, whatever, but still the thing is like, how does somebody the question was nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Do you think you're able to, it's obviously easier because you didn't grow up with it.
Yeah.
But I wonder how, like, what is a way to combat with it if it's the only thing that you, like, that is your generation.
That's nurture. Yeah. I mean, you're growing up with it. And
you grew up with outdoors, you do outdoors. They grow up with the phone, they do phone.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very hard to separate yourself from it if you're growing up with it now. And then with AI and robots. And I just think we're getting more away from human connection.
Yeah,
for sure.
And just being outside, which is when I feel my best.
Yeah.
I always
being
think,
outside.
too, if you like raise your kid kind of off the phone as well, they're going to be the only kid or the 1% that wasn't raised on a phone, whereas like everyone else is used to using the phone.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're outcasted
Yeah.
from the
And there's
get-go, right?
and there's almost going to be a bit of a disadvantage if you don't know how to use AI.
Massive disadvantage.
You're not going to be
make money. Yeah.
for anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's now. I mean, AI now is obviously in its infancy, and
Yeah.
it sucks. Like I use ChatGPT all the time,
Yeah.
and most of the time it's wrong. And I know it's wrong. And I'll be like, hey, why did you say this? It's not correct. Oh, you're right. Thanks for pointing that out. That's a good point. Let me fix this for you. But like by the time our kids are using it, it's going to be correct on every,
gonna
like
be gnarly.
it's going to, they'll be able, your phone will be able to be like, hey, you probably need to do this today. Hey,
Yeah.
you need to, this would be a good idea. Hey, that girl that you've been looking at, you should go talk to her today.
Yeah.
You know,
Has all the knowledge in the world. Yeah. Scary.
it is scary, but I think it's part of evolution,
Yeah.
right? They're going to evolve to be able to, I do think that like, even with like plastics and stuff, right? So like our ancestors weren't riddled with plastic. And then as our first, the first generation that started getting riddled with plastics, cancers and this and that and all these things. But now it doesn't harm us as much because we have
Sure.
generations
evolved.
that we have evolved. And I wonder how much technology will be like environmental toxins.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there are some positives. Like we wouldn't be here together were it not for social media.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we met. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's figuring out what are the benefits from it? How do I get the benefits without the negative components of it?
It's about figuring the same way that I said I believe I have a healthy relationship with alcohol. It's how do you have a healthy relationship with social media?
That's what it's going to come down to. I feel like you're kind of combating it a little bit with like all the community stuff that you're doing.
100%.
Right?
100%.
You want to let us in on all of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, this dates back to my childhood. I grew up only child. So I had friends over to play basketball in my parents' backyard every night and to play ping pong in my parents' basement. And then in college, I threw massive parties, which were really fun. And then as I got more into the wellness-based lifestyle, it was organizing group runs and group bike rides. And then when we bought our home in Colorado, we designed the backyard to be an outdoor gym. It's called Muscle Mountain. And
so
we have a
sick.
sauna and we have ice barrels there. And we started hosting every single night, having people come over to do contrast therapy. Same thing we do here now in Austin. We have a sauna, pool, cold plunges, and I've always said meet at least one new person every day. I love meeting new people, and that has compounded so much over time to where now I've occupied a small portion of so many people's minds with this memorable experience that now I don't have to chase opportunity anymore. It just comes back to me. So, that's something that I didn't ever imagine getting out of it that I get out of it now. It just started with like, I enjoy leaving people with a memorable experience, whether it's like having this fun basketball game or this great ping pong, match to, now someone who's never sat in a hot sauna and then gotten into cold water before, like the elation they get from that. I love seeing it. And I also like seeing the friendships that form from it. People who didn't know each other, it's many like-minded people who are coming over, like-minded, they like risk, they're willing to try something new, and, they bond with the other people that are coming over. So yeah, just kind of people DM me and I'm like, yeah, come on over and sauna tonight.
So is it just literally like, hey, come over and hang out, guys? Or is
Yeah.
it like membership based? Is it
Not membership
monetized?
based. It's not monetized.
It's
Nope.
just we want to have our space. And I mean, I'd be worried about people coming over to my house.
Yeah. I mean, so social media for me has always been people following me for wellness.
Yeah.
I didn't gain a following from being on TV. So people who follow me generally follow me for a reason. They're very
Yeah.
into wellness.
Yeah.
So the people coming over, I've had very few bad experiences with thousands of people probably by now that have come over. And
It's philanthropic in a way.
yeah, it is. It is, but I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed meeting
Yeah.
new people, and I've enjoyed creating these environments that, get people together. And, I've formalized it in ways now. I do have an organization called Founders Only,
Yeah.
where we do wellness retreats for entrepreneurs, creators, and investors. So that's been very fun. We just had almost...
Tell me about that. I'm interested.
Yeah. We
You
just
had
had
NADC at it too.
We did. NADC catered the last one that we just did here in Austin 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
3-day wellness retreat.
I didn't get a fucking invite.
Yeah, you're invited to the next one in March.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had just under 50 people attend this last one, and we're usually doing a couple workouts a day, a trail run, a hike, the world's toughest mile sometimes, which I'll tell you what that is after this.
Yeah, please.
High rocks type workout. And then we'll have like 4 to 5 hours of speakers. You know, we invited Neen to speak at the last one. People who are just building cool things that others can learn from, others will be inspired by. We do contrast therapy every night, and we do a pretty intimate barbecue. We'll usually do a barbecue at our house one of the nights, and then, you know, we'll have a local restaurant cater one of the nights. But the beauty of it is just curating it with like-minded people who are getting together and, you know, just everyone, the sum is greater than the parts. That's what the value is from it. So we do 4 of those a year, and I want to continue building that. We've also turned it into an online community with a private Slack channel. We have speakers every other week on Zoom calls, a member directory, and we want this just to be a big, both online and in-person community for people doing similar things to get together regularly.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'd be interested in attending that.
Heck yeah, you should. It's really fun. And
Let's do it.
I mean, the people are really what makes the experience awesome. And it stemmed from just what I do every single night, having people over to sauna, to where I text 15 of my friends who are running companies, and I'm like, hey, do you guys want to come to Denver for a couple days, and we'll hit a couple workouts, we'll jump in a cold stream, we'll go on a hard hike, and, you know, let's just hang out and have fun. And I realized from that, you know, all of the people were high performers that came, and they left and they said, I can't believe how much I needed that. I can't believe how much I needed to just like spend some time with the guys, just bullshitting, learning from each other.
Is it a guys thing or a girls thing?
No, guys and girls.
Yeah.
I attract a lot of guys to come from like how hard people see my workouts are. But we would love to get more females in the mix doing it as well.
My wife would probably do it.
Hell yeah, would love to have her.
I feel like this is kind of a great thing, even if like whether they're gonna come and like do it with you guys and they can also do it with their own community as well. You know what I mean? It's about like connecting and you know, everyone just meeting up at a certain place and like having a good time and having conversations. And this is also like the talk that we were talking about with social media. It's kind of a way to pull back the social media and like live in real time and
100%.
deal with real people, you know.
But for some people like myself, it's kind of hard because like it was, I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we did back-to-back podcasts, and then I went straight to the restaurant, and the next day I had the same thing, and I went from, before that I had cleared my text messages, and the next 2 days later I was at back to 115 new text messages. And so for people, you're talking about people who are running companies and et cetera, it's like the detachment is amazing because we cannot detach on a normal day-to-day basis, because if we detach, the train will derail. Right. But then it's almost the question becomes, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I think I'm bearing the lead by saying it is worth the squeeze. But like there is the first thing I think of is, holy shit, how the fuck am I going to go disappear how am I going to go disappear for a day or 2 days? Because like I already have that, and it's already difficult, and it's already stressful, and the anxiety that comes along with like, but what if I, you know, because I started to realize for me, we keep circling back to the social media, you know, addiction thing. For me, it was almost like a decompression, because I didn't have to use my brain, and there was no negative thing. My algorithm isn't politics or anything like that, so I don't see all the, you know, the negativity. But it was a way to just like, oh, pizza, sushi, you know, skateboarding, things, just to like give my brain a second break. But I do think that still it was, you know, it was still negative in the way that it was doing it.
Yeah, I just think having some of these things regularly scheduled are so important, because then you go back to your life reinvigorated.
Scheduling is definitely a big thing there. Like if you're going to be busy from Monday through Friday, maybe like one Saturday a month, you could like, that's my community time, right? That's my time to go connect with friends and stuff, you know? Take a day, contrast therapy, good workouts, good runs, hikes, you know, good chat, good dinner.
The world's toughest mile. Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, tell me about the world's toughest mile, because I can do a mile, but is it straight up? It's just a ladder?
Nope, it's not straight up. You got to try it. So it's a lap of burpee broad jumps. So you
Okay.
do a burpee, you jump forward, do a burpee, jump forward,
For 1 mile?
400 meters, 1 lap around the track, and then you lunge a lap, so body weight lunge,
I don't think I'm making it through the first lap.
and then you bear crawl a lap,
Oh,
and then you run the final lap. So we're turning this into an event that we're going to have
Heavy.
here in Austin, Miami.
First place, if you
LA.
can finish, it's $1 million cash prize.
Exactly. But it's another one of these things where like everyone is there doing something difficult. You're
Yeah.
together in the same place. You're fist bumping each other. We're going to have a DJ, saunas, cold plunges on the infield. And we want to make this into, just this community social gathering.
Have you considered doing like in the way that like when you go and have like a big like I did the Two Bears 5K.
Yeah.
And they had different start times based on how fast you would be
Sure.
able to finish it.
Sure.
Have you considered doing to make it a little bit more inclusive in the sense of bringing more people to trying something difficult, where
Yep.
maybe you have the world's hardest mile, the world's most medium mile, and the world's
You can do it with a partner.
yeah.
yeah.
You go, I go, do it with a partner.
Yeah.
That makes it quite a bit easier. So yeah, I mean, we want it to be accessible, but we
Because like there's
do-
no way in hell I could do that.
It's a
Yeah.
beast one. Or
We
you
wanna-
just take your time.
You
know?
could. I mean,
Yeah.
you can. I mean, just like running a 5K. Like if you
Yeah.
haven't run before, like it's
Yeah.
going to take a while, but you can walk it.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it, and we want to maintain that hardness. We want to maintain like you're overcoming an obstacle because I do think
Yeah.
that's an important key in
Yeah.
life is having these things that are obstacles.
Yeah, but what's
on your
hard for
calendar.
you and hard for me are two very different
Well,
things.
I agree with that, but I can make it hard too by
Yeah.
going faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the misconception oftentimes with fitness is
Yep.
that it doesn't hurt when I'm doing my workouts.
Yeah.
It hurts when I'm doing my workouts.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may hurt even more because I'm so conditioned to being able to go hard that like my heart rate is sky high when I'm doing it. And I'm not going to quit because I know I can keep my heart rate at that for a while.
I always say that with coaching too. It's just like, if this workout felt super easy, you're probably not going heavy enough, or you're not pushing yourself.
You've advanced.
far enough.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Go to level 2.
Go to level 2. Like move on up. Because like a beginner can do this, all the way to like an elite athlete can
Yeah.
do this. It just they're gonna use a different load. They're gonna use a different intensity, and
Yeah.
that's just the difference.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can make 20 burpees really hurt for me, and I can make 20 burpees really easy. You can make 20 burpees
Yeah.
really easy, or you can make them really hard for yourself,
Yep,
depending
yep.
on how fast you go.
Just turn up that intensity.
I mean, I'll try
right?
it. Fuck it. I'll do it.
Heck
Yeah.
I'll probably finish it too. I'm talking shit about myself, but I would
You will
finish
finish
it.
Yeah, you wouldn't give
Guarantee
up.
Yeah, because I live this not a damn chance mindset. I would say,
Yeah.
fuck you. There's not a damn chance I'm not finishing this, especially in front of all these dudes.
Yeah, and I mean, the cool thing is, like, the people who are coming in last get the most support.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone is
Yeah.
cheering for them. At the Founders Only, we did the World's Toughest Mile 2 weeks ago, and everyone ran in with Tony, who came in last in it, and like it was so cool. We're playing like Rocky music, running that final lap with him, and he was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
He just did something super hard.
Yeah. What are you working on right now? What's coming up?
Yeah, the big things are for next year, the World's Toughest Mile, rolling
Yeah.
that out in cities, because historically it's just been something that I've done for fun. I've done it with brands. I've done it as part of the Founders Only events. But next year we're actually
Turning
rolling
it into
out,
a thing?
Turning it into a thing.
That's
Yep,
gonna be
yep.
sick.
I partnered with Guido, who started Wadapalooza, which is one of the biggest fitness festivals in Miami. So he's handling all the like logistics of it. And then Wyatt, who is my business partner
Yeah.
on Founders Only, is also involved in the World's Toughest Mile. And he's like the back end guy, building the website, the registration, the structure, the systems. So those are big things for next year. And then, just continuing to improve the house that we just built, that we occupied here in Austin in September. We just got gym equipment delivered.
Oh,
so
nice.
we're building the second level. We have a bunch of patio space. We're building out the home gym over the next couple weeks.
Let's go.
We have usable roof space. So we're going to build that out, and we just want to turn it into this wellness oasis. So that'll be a project throughout 2026. One of the things I've learned is to space out dopamine hits.
Yeah.
And this is a really, this is a thread I've thought about a lot lately because, we're all fortunate to have awesome lives and awesome friends and doing a lot of cool things all the time. And I got to a place where like my trip to Kauai wasn't magical anymore because I had done so many cool things leading up to it. So like with this house, I'm trying to space out projects, and I
love
try to
that.
space out these dopamine hits. So
Yeah.
each of
That's
them
smart.
is like rewarding, and I'm looking forward to it instead of doing it all at once. Like I could do it all at once restaurants if I wanted to, but then it's like gone, you know, and I lost that dopamine
Yeah,
hit from
what's
it.
there to look forward
Yeah,
to?
exactly. So I'm trying to space out things I look forward to now.
I think that's very smart, and I think that's wisdom that comes with age that I haven't
sure.
gotten to yet. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm at that age yet. But you just, I don't know if you just heard me take a very deep breath
Yeah.
when you explained that, because it struck a chord with me, because there's been some times in the last year that I'm doing something that I would have I traded 20 years of my life to get to the point where I'm doing it, and I'm doing it going like, I want to go fucking home. Why am I even here right now?
Yeah.
And there's a level of burnout, and there's a level of burnout that does come with doing too many things, because everything I do is really like, I love it, right?
You're right.
And but sometimes doing too many things that you love it desensitizes the love.
For sure.
And when you and I heard it in a way that I think I can actually I can apply to my life, where like when I looked at my wife when we were opening Shokunin, and I was like, I'm so happy right now. Like, I haven't felt like a chef in a long time, because I felt like a businessman who is opening restaurants. And yes, still the chef, still coming with dishes, still working with the team, but I was doing so many so fast. And it's been a minute since I've done a new restaurant. So like this restaurant is like, I don't know, it just clicked for me.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and I mean, that's a very first world problem. You have so many things that are so fun that you now don't have as much fun doing it.
Yeah.
But I guess you can apply that to anything. If you're sitting at home playing video games, if you're playing too many games too fast, you may not get the same sensation. So I do think that's very, very wise.
Yeah, I do. I like
to
that.
spread that out. But then on the other hand, you go, yeah, but why would I slow down just to feel better if the thing that I'm doing requires speed? You know what I mean? So I don't know. See, this is me almost like
You're
talking
back-
myself.
you're
I'm
back
talking
and forth.
myself out of it. But I don't know. Am I talking myself out of it, or am I being reasonable and rational as to why perhaps that would be great in a vacuum, but difficult in practice?
I kind of like it. I feel like
Your lifestyle is like that,
kinda
though. You like
lay
that.
back, don't let it go too fast, you know, absorb it, enjoy it, and then like space out the dopamine hits. So like as you start coming down, and maybe you're down for like a month or two, then you blast it with another one, and then you're back up, you know. I like that.
Well, just think about, you know, so many famous celebrities that commit suicide or have to go to, you know, addiction clinics because they didn't get that hit anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you recreate
was so
100,000 people in a crowd cheering for you?
Yeah, for sure.
It's difficult. It's very difficult, and I think that's why a lot of you see now a lot of like a lot is relative, but you'll see successful actors or musicians or whatever. They bought a farm and they're living out in the middle of nowhere, and every once in a while they're going to a major city and they're doing a thing, but they're just living, you know, on their farm. And I do think that is a byproduct of Instagram, social media, technology.
Just
is
get
like,
away from it all, huh?
well, without the pendulum swinging so far, there would be no need to try to run to the other side before the pendulum gets back.
For sure.
So, I mean, I think that, like that's what we're doing with the ranch is trying to figure out a way to live. I'm working on a new restaurant here in town.
Cool.
4 acres, 150-year-old log cabin. We're going to grow all the vegetables. When I say all, it's in heavy quotes, because if I have a sauce on the menu that requires 50 pounds of onions to be reduced to 1 cup, I'm not growing all those onions. But someone in my neighborhood, you know, one of the
Amazing.
farms around there will. But we're going to go hunt the meat and, you know.
It's gonna be good.
Out west?
In Dripping Springs.
Cool.
Yeah. And, you know, I just feel like that was sort of the idea of like, just, I need to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
from-
that feeling right
Yeah.
there. you
I
know?
need to just go live on a farm. I won't live there. I live nearby, but just need to have this reinvigorated lifestyle that is like, because right now going to work is the problem. But what if I take work out of the real world? And so I go out of the real world to go do my work all day. And then when I come back, I have little bits of, you know, real world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing this with Austin and Denver.
Yep.
You know, Denver is kind of the nature reprieve, solitude. You know, I can control how many things I'm being invited to, how many people are in the mix, where Austin is city life. You know, it's just go, go, go. There's so many fun things happening.
So
and
much
so many
community.
people coming over and
Yeah.
we're going out to restaurants. But I know I need both. So, you know, we decided that we wanted to split our time between the two so I can get both in my doses.
Yeah, being away for too long is a little like, I mean, it could kind of put you down a little bit if you're away for too long, especially when you're used to like that community and being around people and go, go, go and stuff, you know. I was going to say, I completely agree with both of you guys. Like I do the same thing by going from Fort Worth to Chicago. It's like Chicago's like big city. It's where I'm from. It's chaos, you know. And then I go back to Fort Worth where it's like a smaller, like hidden spot where I could kind of just be by myself and chill and let things vibe out, you know. But you need it. You need both, you know. You need the lights and the horns, and you need like the quiet and the peace, you know.
But have you always been very good at that, or just as long as I've known you?
I mean, when I was younger, I was more, I think probably when I kind of cleaned up my act, when I stopped drinking, stopped partying and stuff, I kind of really wanted to just be more on the chiller side, right? And like get out of like all the chaos, you know?
Yeah.
But I do like to dip my feet in, dip my toe in, and then like get out, you know? Like, let's see how cold the water is now. Let me get out of there, you know? But yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy having chill time and wild time and just kind of having a balance of it all, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, the thing is for me, I always feel like whenever I am off working or I'm off doing work, then I'm like, at a certain point, I need to go home and reset. Then I go home and reset. Like we talk about this every time we open a new restaurant, about 6 weeks in, I'll be like, we're not doing this again. That's it. No more. And then 6 weeks will go by and I'm like, all right, when's the next one?
You want the thrill?
Yeah, let's go.
Yep. How many restaurants are you guys up to?
Well, NADCs, I think we're at 9 right now.
Cool.
And then there's a few in the works that we're working on. And then he has a bunch of sushis.
Another
pastas,
16,
shokunin.
17, something like that. So I think it's a lot.
How many different cities?
I think 13.
Wow.
Yeah, it's growing.
I think.
It's wild.
That's crazy.
I think 13. Let's see. Seattle, Sonoma, Santa Barbara, LA, Beverly Hills, Austin, Fort Worth, Dallas, Chicago, Denver, Nashville, Miami, New York. Am I missing anything?
You said Chicago?
I think so, yeah. 13?
I think so.
13.
Wow. What was that process like in your head going from, I'm assuming at one point you were thinking about all of them, like, you know,
No.
what could go wrong tonight? No?
Oh, wait, sorry. I answered the wrong question too fast.
Yeah. I
Finish
mean,
your question,
it's-
sorry.
At some point they must have all occupied some of your mind, but you can't have them all occupy some of your mind. What did that process look like?
So I never wanted a ton of restaurants. And that's not true, that statement at all. I didn't start wanting that many restaurants. I had this idea after we opened our first restaurant that like I've always had this idea that I don't love like what the food culture in America is, the way that our relationship with dining versus a lot of Europe and Asia and their relationship with food in general and dining. Americans treat food like the thing that doesn't matter. It doesn't really bring people together. I'm generalizing here. Of course, there are families, you know, but in general, or maybe it was because I grew up in LA and it's fast paced and everything. But my father remarried a Dutch woman, and that was in like that sort of dining. Like dinner being a ritual was introduced into the family. And so I had this idea that like you can't change anything with one small restaurant, but you can change things with a lot of restaurants. And so I was quoted at one point saying that my goal was 100 world-class restaurants by the time I was 50. But I think that was just me sort of like throwing the baseball as far as I
Throwing a number
could
out.
just to be like, let's fucking try. But I never really was like, all right, let's sit down. How am I going to have 100 restaurants? Sure. I never really planned to do it. I just said I wanted it.
Yeah.
And then the universe kind of just started putting things in front of me.
Sure.
And so like we did get up to like 7 restaurants pre-pandemic. 5 of them were still open when the pandemic occurred. Then we had 0. Then we came to Austin. We had the pop-up. Pop-up went crazy. Sold that to private equity. Back down to 0 restaurants open. Reopened those 5 in January of so from January of 22, we went from basically 0 to 20 something. But there was never a game plan or business plan or strategy on how we would do that.
Yep.
We just sort of kept doing the thing that was in front of us.
Yep.
Then we have a restaurant. It's going great. Somebody calls us, hey, I have a restaurant in Seattle. It's a defunct sushi restaurant. Do you want it? I'll fly out tomorrow. Hey, this works for us.
Yep.
6 weeks later, we're serving food.
Yep.
And then, hey, we have a place in Miami. Hey, there's a place in New York City. And so one day I looked up and went, holy fuck.
Kind of like organically.
Yeah. I mean, do things Stars repetitively aligned. That you know are going to bring opportunities to you. I live my life very much like that too. I don't have like set goals per se of like, we need to have this much revenue with founders only. We need to have this many people at the world's toughest mile. I just know that if I keep living my life the way I do and being kind to people, having people over, putting out content on social media, working out a couple times a day, that like by the end of the year, like things are going to happen. I don't know exactly what they are, but good things will happen.
Optimistic, right? Right.
So I consider myself a delusional optimist.
Yeah.
And I've always just sort of had this philosophy when it comes to business. And I think that at least in my business, it's very artistically driven. I think most businesses are artistically driven if you really break them down. You can either, and I'll call the art the product, right? You can either design a product to make money, or you can design a product to be useful. If you design it to be useful, and how that translates to restaurants is amazing, right? It's the best. People love it. If you design it to be useful and not to make money, the money will find you. If you design it to make money, you might make money. Probably won't last that long. You might not make money because all of your efforts are put into the wrong bucket. And so for us, it's always been just make the best food and provide the best experience that we are capable of.
Yeah.
And execute at the highest level. And I'm always very careful to say, we are doing the absolute highest level that we are capable of.
Yep.
Because sometimes we're not capable today, or we're not capable right now. Not capable to operate at all, but not capable to be as good as somebody else, And so I hold myself to the standard, and I hold everyone else to the standard of, you need to be 100% of you. You don't need to be better than anyone else, but you need to be better than you were yesterday. And that's the only thing that you need to do.
Was it better each day, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Just a little bit better each day. Just get out there and strive to be your best every single day, and, just execute.
But part of being better every day isn't putting up a bigger number every day. It's about growing every day. And sometimes you need to take a day off. And sometimes you have to fall and skin your knee to be like, fuck, you know what? I should have done this a little bit different so that you can continue to progress. So it's more about giving it your all every day than it is about being better than you were yesterday in terms of scoring points.
Purposeful progress. Yeah. And there's learning, there's down days that come with that. But ultimately, at the end of the year, purposeful progress.
What keeps you going?
Progress. I love progress.
Momentum. He fucking can't. He's just still going.
No, I would say like progressing in something. I really enjoy progressing in things. But I mean, going back to what you said earlier, structure ultimately keeps me going. I just have my days pretty defined of understanding what I want to do. That's first and foremost. Like, what is my perfect day, and trying to replicate that perfect day as much as I possibly can. And, that keeps me going. I look forward to this similar things each day with variety in them. Like I'm going to work out every day, but there's variety with the workouts. I'm going to have people over to sauna every night. There's variety with the people. There's variety with the conversations. I'm going to have, meetings, podcasts, calls from 10:30 until 2 o'clock every day, but there's variety within that. So I stick to a similar structure, and then I love progress. I like progressing in things. I just bought a used espresso machine. Right now, I'm very passionate about trying to pull the perfect espresso shot. There's a lot that goes into that.
This one I made you is not the perfect, but it's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah, for that little Breville machine, it's
great.
not. Yeah,
it's great. But yeah, I love skill-based activities, whether it's mountain biking, making espresso, smoking meats. I love skill-based activities. So I always have a lot of different skill-based activities that are in my daily routine. And then I have things I look forward to always, whether it's races, trips, events I'm going on. And I have obstacles in my life. I have Leadville. I have hard things that I know I need to train to overcome.
Are you really into smoking meats?
I am really into smoking meats. I don't have a smoker here in Austin yet, but we have Yoder and we have a Big Green Egg back in Denver.
Sick.
You ever consider competing in that?
Haven't thought about competing in it, no. I think I'm still like pretty low on the totem pole of understanding all of the proper things. I mean, I'm generally just doing fairly easy cuts of meat on the smoker, a ribeye, a New York strip. I'm not doing anything, like a brisket for 12 hours.
Yeah. So you're more just like, if you're saying like a ribeye, are you doing like a whole rib, or are you doing just like a steak?
Steaks for friends.
And so when you're smoking it, as opposed to grilling it, it's just a longer cook at a lower temperature.
Longer cook, lower temperature, and then searing it.
I've never, I don't think I've ever smoked a ribeye.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
I'm sure
some of
it
that
is.
smokiness to it, and kind of low and slow as well.
I used to at Scratch Bar, which is our flagship restaurant in LA. There's a big 16-foot hearth is the only cooking equipment we had in the restaurant.
Cool.
So like if I'm going to cook a piece of meat, you just have to move it around near the fire. And we had this way that we would cook our it was a ribeye. It was Wagyu. And when you would enter into the restaurant, we would pull a piece out and we would put it above the hearth, collecting smoke. Because we knew from the time that you stepped foot inside to the meat course was about an hour and 20 minutes. In an hour and 20 minutes, it had just come to about 100 degrees internal temperature. And then from there, what we would do is we would bring it and present to you the piece of like really soft, like squishy, like fatty, melty meat. And then we would tell you to keep an eye on it because this is your piece. And then we would put it near the fire where it would come up to about 110, 115 degrees. And then when it was time for your course, we'd put it on a rack and put it into the flames. And what would happen is it would actually, because there was fat now saturated through the entire thing, it would start to fry in its own fat.
Sounds amazing.
And so then we would cut it directly in half.
Hungry.
It was a tasty menu, so it was like 25 courses, so a small piece. But we cut it directly in half, and then the two of you, because most guests are dining as a two-top, would each get a half a slice, and it was just perfectly smoky, perfect. But I never thought of it as like smoked meat. It was more that I was tempering above a fire and collecting smoke.
Kind of like a reverse sear in a way. Right?
So it's funny. It's really funny. I told this story on Rogan about this dish, and I got people talk shit online because he was like, "Oh, like a reverse sear," and I'm like, "I don't know what that is."
Yeah.
And people are like, "You call yourself a chef? You don't know what reverse sear is?" And I'm like, "No, I had no idea," because I also think that's more of
that could be a random like social media term or something, right?
In every restaurant where I cooked meat, where we had 1, 2, or 3 Michelin stars, at no point did any chef ever say, we're going to do a reverse sear.
Yeah.
So no, I never learned what a reverse sear was.
I feel like I learned that technique from like the web or a cooking show or something.
But I probably heard Joe say it.
Yeah.
But he may have made it a term.
But my understanding of a reverse sear now is you are effectively cooking the meat, and then you are searing it.
Yeah.
Correct.
What I was doing is I was not cooking the meat. I was tempering the meat. I was bringing it all the way up to the temperature of the room.
Yeah.
And then I was cooking it very fast.
Okay.
So the thing is, the reason I wouldn't call it a reverse is I couldn't sear it and then put it up there forever. It wouldn't cook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where a reverse sear is, it's already ready to go.
Sous vide.
Now I'm just getting a Maillard reaction for caramelization.
Yep.
It's like a slow sous vide-ish, soaking in smoke, getting to a little bit above room temperature.
I mean, I've
and
definitely worked in restaurants where we sous vide the meat.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess that would be similar to a reverse sear because what we would do is we would cook the meat and then we would hit it hard on one side, hit it hard on the other side, slice it, goes on the plate.
That's exactly
Right. Yeah,
what it
but
is.
reverse sear wasn't the name of it. But I didn't know what that
Maybe
was.
someone just like made up that term or something. Or...
Somebody made up every term. The thing is, it's not a term that was normal.
Used.
Well, I don't want to say it was not normally used. It was not used in any restaurant I had ever worked in.
Yeah.
I'd worked in a couple of them, but never a term that I'd ever read in a book, heard any chef use.
I know, like, when I learned about it, I was super stoked on it because you could always nail the cook of your steak every time. You're just like, oh, yeah, perfect, right where I want it. Rare, medium rare, just like right there perfectly and get a good crust on it.
Cooking meat to me is an art.
Yeah.
And using like a thermometer or cooking in like these types of like sous vide, like things like that, is like being an artist who uses like a ruler or like tapes off thing. Like I don't want to discredit art at all, but like
I think those things are good though. You know, it's like if you need it, it's a tool, right? So you could use it.
It might look really, really nice.
Yeah,
but there's no personality to it. There's no heart and soul in it. And I feel like because cooking is cooking is my running 100 miles. Right. Like, and you've been around for it. I can drink 12 beers, have 6 steaks cooking, be entertaining a bunch of people at the house, not pay attention and know exactly when to turn every single thing and pull it off and have it be perfectly cooked.
Yeah.
And to me,
it's your art, you know, it's your technique, you know.
But the technique is what's separate. So like there's 2 reasons to eat. You're hungry or you want to explore, right? Those are really the 2 main reasons to eat. And so, yeah, I mean, if I'm just hungry, I don't try to artistically cook it. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
But when I want to go to a restaurant, I want to, you know, one of the things that Michelin judges on is the personality of the chef coming through in their food.
Yeah.
And so I think although it is great to be able to, you know, set something with a timer and use a thing, I think that it is more, at least for me, more impressive, to actually be able to just understand how it works and use your hands and be more tactile.
Yeah, I think that's great because it's like that's your art, you know. That's like your craft. Whereas like the person at home, it's like a digital thermometer is going to help them tenfold unless they're like very passionate in the art of it.
Oh,
right?
100. I know. Yeah, I mean, if you're at home and you're worried about that, do it. But if you want to be like you're into smoking meats, right? So if you're into it, I would say the same thing that you would say to someone who's like getting into fitness. It's like, yes, you can keep doing the thing that like keeps you in there because you're getting results. Or if you actually want to, you know, learn what's happening and not just have the machine do, you know, making sure that you're doing it correctly. I would almost imagine it, maybe I'm wrong, but I almost imagine it like free weights versus a machine. A machine is going to make sure that it actually that you're lined up versus actually having to hold those things and correct for it, right?
Yeah, there's like a little bit more core, like it's more compound if you're using the dumbbells instead of a machine, you know. Machine's more isolated to like if you want to build a certain thing.
But isolation is exactly what we're talking about. We're mitigating the potential of doing it incorrectly.
Yeah,
right?
With the thermostat.
With a thermometer. And
yeah.
so I would imagine and that doesn't mean that the thermometer is a bad tool. And it doesn't mean that machines are a bad tool. They're great tools until you fully understand what's happening and why. And then doesn't mean you can't use them or shouldn't use them. But once you understand, you don't need them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing the touch test for the last 6 months or so, and it's so much more rewarding when you do the touch test.
Do you know
it was
this?
Perfect. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I agree 100%. Like the art of it is what's fun. And I'll compare it to mountain biking versus being in a gym. Like I love mountain biking because there's so many different components to it.
Yeah.
The handling aspect, the positioning on the bike, it's all autopilot for me now, but like what gear to be in, what brake to hit. And it's the same with cooking where once you get past the science part of it, how do I go to level 2 and make it more of an art?
Well, there's something like you can, there are so many, food tells you when it's done and you have to know what to look for. And so like you can cook a piece of meat and try this next time you guys cook a piece of meat. If it's this big, it'll be a little bit different. But like if you cook like a regular size steak, you'll start to see beads of what looks like blood coming up on, like sitting on the surface of the meat. It's done.
Good to know.
You'll be able to smell, there's a difference between grilling meat and cooked meat in aroma, and you'll be able to learn over time. It's done. Whatever's in the oven, pull it out.
That's cool. The smell test.
That's how I do my oven.
That's
cooking.
level 3.
Yeah.
I'm only on level 2. I'm on level 2 right now.
The oven.
It's hard if it's just all smoke because you can't smell anything.
I definitely do that with the oven. I just like chill, and then when I smell the food, it's usually done. Like, and it's usually broccoli or sweet potatoes.
Well, I was going to say, try it
Like
with
something
vegetables.
easy.
The next time you're roasting vegetables in the oven, smell it in the beginning. Like keep smelling throughout. And as soon as the sugars start to caramelize, you will smell it as done, and it's done.
Fascinating. I'm going to try that.
Yes.
Now that we're hungry.
I know.
Exactly.
I want that steak.
Well, maybe I'll grill steaks at the next.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be.
I have a feeling I won't do it with 12 beers in me, but
NA beers.
I might have 16 NA beers in me. So as we start to wrap up every conversation, we always end with this. We only ever have one question planned, and it's always the very last thing we do. And that question is, and you've already, I'm very interested in your response because you've already sort of teed yourself up for it. Before we went into this cooking conversation, I was already like, oh, great, it's perfectly teed up. And then we went cooking, and I couldn't resist jumping in on that one. But given the opportunity to fully design your reality, like magic lamp on the table, genie pops out, anything you want. What does your world look like 10 years from now?
Very similar to today. Doing the things I'm doing today, and hopefully just a little bit better. I actually remember a really cool quote when this was from Jesse Itzler and David Goggins, and they were at a New Year's party, and everyone was going around stating their New Year's resolutions, and everyone has these new grand ideas of what they want to achieve. And David said, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing now just a little bit better. And I really feel that way. Like I figured out a lot of the things I really enjoy. And I do throw new things into the mix here and there. Like the espresso is kind of a new thing for me. But a lot of the things I'm doing now, I just want to continue to get better at and be doing those same things 10 years from now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Where can people find you?
Yeah, social media, my name, Eric Hinman, Instagram, YouTube.
And look out for that hardest smile.
Look out for the world's toughest smile.
The world's
toughest smile and founders only.
I'll be there. You want to do it with me?
I'm down to try it. I might go slow though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Endurance isn't really
It's
my
for
thing.
completion.
All right, my only goal is to beat Neen.
Yeah, there you go. Start
now I'm
training.
going to go fast.
Oh, fuck.
Start doing burpee broad jumps. I know he doesn't like burpee broad jumps.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming through, man.
Thanks for having me,
It's really
guys.
great to chat with you. And
This was
obviously, we've known each other forever. So thank you for everything that you've done for the community, for everybody, and keep doing you, man.
Heck yeah.
You're crushing
Thanks for everything you guys have done, too. I love your restaurants.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Hit subscribe now if you want to follow along. We have some awesome guests lined up that we sit down with. Make sure you follow the Not a Damn Chance podcast on socials at NADC Podcast. We'll see you next week.